What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast, a podcast that, by the way, pioneered the emergency podcast. We were the first ever to do the emergency podcast. Everyone else does it now. And unfortunately, it's backfired badly on us because Tom Brady is pulling a possible Brett Favre and is retiring again for the second straight offseason. Joining me to break it down, the one, the only, literally the only person who would be capable or sufficiently capable of breaking down Tom Brady's second retirement, Tyler Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, a.k.a. a sad Bradys fan.
I've made this joke already on CBS News and HQ, but tomorrow's Groundhog Day. We've done this before, right?
Tomorrow is Groundhog Day. What the F?
Like, it's unbelievable.
We've done this. We did the whole shebang. I'm not here for it.
We've already done it. I feel like let's just run back the old one.
Actually, we could do that. I will say, Tom Brady's like, could you actually run back the old one and forget about 2022? I will give Tom credit. He got on Twitter. He said, look, I already burnt the good retirement. I'm going to just hit record in this semi-scenic but quasi-foggy place.
It's always the beach, right?
I know. You can't.
Staring off.
This is a Seinfeld episode. You can't just retire in your living room. Actually, I'm not gonna rip Tom Brady here, but I mean, come on, man. Is there a bonus? Is there a bonus? Is there like a contract situation? Okay, all right. Let's dive into the thing that matters right now, because we've already done the Tom Brady is good, great, grand.
It's pretty good at football.
Breakdown. Yeah, I mean, like no one needs to, like we had Eli Manning on this very podcast, I believe, at least on YouTube version. I didn't introduce Eli Manning, but I mean, like Eli Manning, like former Giants quarterback. Everyone knows Eli Manning. Everyone definitely knows Tom Brady. Like it doesn't matter what group of people you're talking to, they know who Tom Brady is. The important thing about Tom Brady is that for this particular timeline is that he dramatically impacts the quarterback situation this offseason. I mean, we'd sort of penciled it in to the Raiders or the Niners, maybe the Dolphins would get weird. I mean, we did a meme show yesterday, and you and Breach both had you had a SpongeBob meme, and Breach had a the distracted boyfriend meme. And everybody's looking at Tom Brady. And now Tom Brady is allegedly gone. Do you think he is really gone this time, Sully?
I do. He even said as much. I'm gone for good. He's again, you take him at his word, I guess, at that point. Because one thing that was interesting, and I know it got a lot of pump up here last year, was that he did not say goodbye to New England. He did it in like a follow-up tweet or whatever. And in the days and weeks after that, we've kind of figured out, right, that it was a goodbye to Tampa because he was trying to edge his way out of Tampa to go play someplace else.
Oh, yeah.
And so, this time it feels a little less calculated, if that makes any sense, where it's, okay, he's basically, there's really no other options other than maybe going to Las Vegas. But at the same time, you've just gone through a heck of a year, not even when we're talking professionally, we're talking personally. You're going to move to the West Coast away from your family. That was a big emphasis when he was making his decision in 2020 to where he was going to play next outside of New England. He wanted to stay on the East Coast, stay with the the same time zone as his children. It would seem weird if he all of a sudden did the West Coast thing for a year or two. For what?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, I don't want to try and figure out Tom Brady's personal headspace. Like it's also entirely different to try and figure out somebody's headspace when they're worth, I don't know, several $100 million.
Yeah.
Like he's like, well, I don't want to deal with this from a familial perspective. It's like, well, actually, I can really do whatever I want. And I said this yesterday. I wasn't being like, I didn't want to sound like crass or whatever, but he came back to football, and I mean, if you just look at the timeline, ultimately did coming back to the Buccaneers in 2022. I mean, that is probably what cost him his marriage. But I mean,
Right. I mean, you have, yes, I know what you mean. When you're talking about what happened to him personally this season, and he was public about it, him and Giselle
No,
announced that they were getting a divorce.
they lived in Florida. They got divorced in a month. It's I
And
mean, God bless Florida. But my point is like, did he come back and get divorced just for an 8-9 NFC South title? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like
right. I would assume that the
there was something
marriage
else going on
did not
before.
crumble simply because he decided to go back. Now I'm sure maybe was that the straw that broke the camel's back. That's for everybody else's interpretation, but I would assume that wasn't the crux of the whole thing. It was probably one of the many things that led to that. But
It's probably Wes Welker's fault.
probably if he hangs on to the football, then there you go.
You've been
Maybe
blaming him for years. My goodness gracious. Like, I don't want to be flippant about it, but I mean, like, it is weird that it's so weird to me that Tom. Actually, I'll tell you what, it's not weird. It is a perfect example of how difficult it is to walk away from the NFL. Because you look at, like, everybody's like, oh, Elway skates off into the sunset after his second title, right? Tom Brady had a chance to leave. Like he left New England after a pick 6 against the Titans in the playoffs. He had a chance to walk away from the Bucks with a Super Bowl and screwed it up twice.
Even a year ago, I would have thought that would have been a nice ending too, leading that comeback in the divisional round against the eventual champion Rams. Kind of
almost pulling it off, and yeah. It's like that's your final, haha. Instead, your final game is losing to Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys.
I'm repeating this from somebody. I forget who said it, but I heard it recently.
We're repeating this whole podcast. It's fine.
But football is a very different sport to retire from because you can't play football ever again. Once you walk off, you're done. If you're a basketball player, if you're MJ,
you go to the Y.
You have a court in your house and you can do whatever you want and basically run some 5-on-5s. Even hockey, there's beer leagues and baseball, obviously, and things like that. Football, you can't get close. You can flag football's not the thing that these guys do.
You go to a tailgate and you get recognized as Tom Brady, the guy who retired 3 times.
It's just it's a very different thing. So to your point, much different, more difficult, I'm sure, to walk away from something like that, especially if you're Tom Brady too. Maybe it's that draw that you still feel like you can do it. If he is sitting there with the burning desire to be like, I'm still decent. I'm still, maybe I'm not this MVP caliber quarterback, but I don't know. I just finished second in the voting. This is obviously at the end of last season. And I just took the team that eventually won the Super Bowl to the brink. Yeah, maybe time tells me I should walk away, but maybe that pull of, wanting to come back and play. My question would be about Tom Brady coming back to play the 2022 season was, what did you want to accomplish? And did you accomplish it?
No. Well, the answer, if he did win a Super Bowl, the answer is no. And that's the thing about Tom Brady is like, if he, and I'm doing the same thing you did. Like, I can't remember who said this, but it's like, if he can't, somebody's like, well, he's going to go play in Vegas. It's like, well, can he definitely win a Super Bowl in Vegas? Because if he doesn't think he can, he shouldn't do it. Like, I don't think he came back to Tampa thinking, I can win a division 8-9 and maybe a playoff game.
Like I don't think he wanted to come back to Tampa. That's kind of what I was.
Yeah, he didn't. He tried to go to Miami.
Right.
So he just fulfilled his contract and didn't retire.
I think maybe he had all intentions of playing in 2022, kind of did the retirement thing, but then was like, oh, wait, you're actually
turned out he could do whatever he wanted, which was surprising to him because he's been able to do whatever he wanted for like 20 years.
And the Vegas thing too, not to jump around too much, but the Vegas thing, like you said, it's not like it was a slam dunk. Like Tampa Bay was kind of a ready-made team. They just needed that quarterback. They had a great defense, good offensive line, weapons. You insert Brady into there, you can have that conversation of contending for a Super Bowl. The only team that really
they might not be the third best team in that division, even with Tom Brady.
Right.
So do you think Sean Payton scared Tom Brady into retirement?
No, I don't.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, my God, man.
No, I don't think so. I think but I'm saying if there was a team where he could play in 2023, it would be San Francisco. That would be the only team that, to me, would be the closest thing to the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where you throw Brady in and everything else is ready-made for you.
Yeah, the difference would be that not between the 2020 Bucks and I'm thinking more like the 2022 Bucks and the 2023 Niners is like the difference between this retirement and last year's retirement. He's a free agent. Like he can, I mean, his agent Don Yee just is also Sean Payton's agent, by the way, has been working his ass off to get Sean Payton a job. Just got Sean Payton a job worth a lot of money. Don Yee ain't having a latte on the couch on like he's out there in the streets working. What's going on, Saul? You got something going on?
No. Go ahead.
No, but make sure there's no more Brady news. Like, did he unretire?
No. I'm trying to see if another quarterback has the same agent, but that's not here nor there.
It's Jimmy Garoppolo does, if that's what you're wondering.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
No, it's 100% true.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to look it up. I know that. But so Sean Payton has Don Yee as an agent. So Don Yee's in the streets. Don Yee knows he knows how these teams feel. Jimmy Ryan, like he knows Kyle Shanahan, right? He negotiated the last two Jimmy Garoppolo deals with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. So in theory, to your point, I think what your point is, he has a good feel for whether or not San Francisco would be interested in Tom Brady. If they're not, then it begs the question, was Las Vegas interested in Tom Brady? Because if Vegas and San Francisco were not interested in having Tom Brady come to their cities and play for their teams, maybe there was nowhere to go for Tom Brady.
That's certainly possible. It could have been Tampa Bay or retirement at that point, because Tampa Bay would have him back. I think we would all agree that would be. For sure. And so if all of a sudden San Francisco's like, hey, listen, we still invested a lot in Trey Lance. We have this kid in Brock Purdy. Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess, is still an option. They've already turned him down. There have been organizations that have turned Tom Brady down. The Raiders
and Gruden turned him down.
Right.
And then he won Super Bowl.
And obviously now it's with Josh McDaniels. You think, okay, maybe that's the connection, but you never know. If you're Josh McDaniels, if you look at it from Tom Brady, the relationship, you say, okay, that makes sense. But if you look at it from where Tom Brady is at this point in his career, if you're Josh McDaniels, you say, I don't know if he's going to be here for a year and I'm back in this same position in the following offseason. And so
he might, or he might be there for a year and suck.
Right.
Like, I mean, Tom was not great this year. It was not fun to watch Tom this year.
No, there were throws that make you say, okay.
There were still throws where it's like, okay, Tom's got a little gas with the deep ball. It would be
but there were also some throws where that you say, okay, that's a 40-something-year-old quarterback too.
Yeah, a lot of them. And everybody's like, well, the offensive line. I mean, when I say everybody, I mean me. I'm like, well, the offensive line is bad. Oh God, he's dying out there. The worst possible thing for Tom Brady, worse than being terrible on the field, worse than having his arm broken or his sternum shattered in half. I'm serious when I say this. Would be to go into free agency as a quarterback and have no one want to hire him. That would be that never happened to Favre, never happened to Peyton. Like none of these guys ever had that happen to him. That is when you're clinging onto this way, way, way too long. When you go to free agency, it's like Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, and the Niners, all who could take you and in theory use you as an upgraded quarterback, have no interest in you. That would be the most depressing situation possible for Tom Brady.
Well, it's the exact opposite of say an Elway and a Manning, where you walk away as a Super Bowl champion and you sail off into the sunset. And in that scenario, it would be the NFL pushing Tom Brady out the door. And that is, for somebody who is as decorated, as accomplished as Tom Brady, that is the worst way you could possibly end your career.
Do we have a Jerry West version is there a version of Jerry West for the NFL? I mean, because that would be Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is the NFL. I mean, for the last, spin to your, just spin to your left. Could you have a spinny chair or are you sitting in a rock hard chair? Look at that. I mean, I'm saying, since the Super Bowl is behind you, since 2001, Tom Brady has been the face of the NFL. I've been to double-digit Super Bowls, and I've been to sat in them, and I've been to more with Tom Brady than without.
It's remarkable.
That's how often this MFer is in the Super Bowl. It's how often, it's insane.
I mean, you're talking about 10 trips, 7 titles, And we're going into Super Bowl 57. So, I mean, 56 Super Bowls. He's won 7, been in 10. He's basically been in like a little over a fifth of the Super Bowls.
Yeah. Yeah. There are kids who are in college who didn't even see Tom Brady's first, actually, yeah, easily didn't see Tom Brady's first Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
All right. Billy doesn't know an NFL without Tom Brady. Billy, you were born when Tom Brady was a Buccaneer. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will actually have a discussion about why Tom Brady's awesome once again for the second year in a row. Next. Okay, so putting aside Tom Brady's retirement and the impact on the free agency market and the quarterback, carousel around the NFL. I mean, it's just like maybe I'm obviously the jaded one here, but or I don't know, maybe you are. It's like we did this last year. Like you can't put into words how freaking great Tom Brady is or how important he is to the NFL. He won 7 Super Bowls. Did you have to list everything when you did HQ?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, of course, you go through the
7 Super Bowls, 42 All Pros. Can you do it in like a deep Boston accent?
Yeah, well, I got asked is he? Well, there you go. I got asked about where does he rank in Boston sports? I'm like, well, he's clearly one.
What is he ranking? Who asked you that? Who asked you that?
That was Brandon.
Really?
Yeah.
But he's right behind Gordie Howe. I mean, he ranks Brandon.
I mean, clearly, I was like, clearly
he's
one.
The number one athlete of all time.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about what he was able to do, I mean, he's insane. But from a greatness standpoint with Brady, as it relates to New England,
he's number 2 behind Mark Wahlberg,
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck,
Apples,
Dunkin' Donuts, and then Tommy.
Do you think that New England should Dunkin' Donuts change their logo to Tom Brady?
I'm surprised they haven't already. That was he was never. I don't think he ever really did the Dunkin' thing. That was Gronk more than anybody. Like,
Tom Brady to do coffee.
Oh, that's probably true, right? I'm sure he might have did it in like 01 or 02 or whatever. But like once he started to do the
yeah, he said too young.
Game over.
Yeah, no, he wasn't like you got to remember. You didn't like. I didn't drink coffee in college.
I did.
See, well, did. Oh, can you see khakis?
Yeah, khakis. I feel like I'm in the State Farm commercials. Khakis.
Jake, did you see the we're doing a disservice to Tom Brady's retirement? But hey, you know what, buddy? You retire 2 years in a row, you get disserviced.
But I'll tell you this. This is what I was saying about, obviously we're talking about Boston, the fabric of the sports city. The Patriots were not the team. It was a Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics town. And the Patriots.
Are you aware of like the heater that you called as a Boston sports fan?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's obscene. It's like my cousin Buck. Of course, I have a cousin named Buck who went to Florida. He was there for like two
Noah Tebow.
He was there for 2 football championships and both of Donovan's or 1 football championship and both of Billy Donovan's basketball championships. And he's like, yeah, we won a couple titles with them. I'm like, listen, pal, I have like 2 titles since '95. Like you at your age caught this insane wave of just
ridiculous. And I consider myself extremely lucky for 2 reasons with that. One,
steroids.
I had that I had all that when I was younger, like, the first Brady, like all those ones behind me, the 04 Red Sox and all that. And even, the Bruins and the Celtics and those ones were great too. But for the Patriots standpoint, the first ones were great for my childhood. The final 3 were great for my career.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think I'm doing I don't think I'm talking to you with any of that.
No. Yeah, you are not nearly as popular at work if the Patriots don't have Tom Brady.
100%.
And that's not a you thing. It's just like
well, not even to say that I'm like successful or anything. Like it's just let's not even go that far either.
$6,000. I'll walk away from this wedding right now.
Boom, roasted.
He roasted himself, Billy. No, it's true though. Like, I mean, and this is like a thing that happens in this line of work is like, and it's a lot easier with the Patriots and Tom Brady. But like when the Panthers had their big 51 season, like I couldn't stay away from like, hey, listen, the Panthers really well. I'm like, look, I'm like 2.5 hours away from the Panthers, but sure, whatever. Like I'll happily jump on the radio. Like it like Tom Brady Tom Brady's first 3 Super Bowls, and there was a long time between the next 3 in New England. But the first 3 you watched and loved as like a kid and a fan, and the next 3 you were working, and it boosted your career. So I mean, the dude won 7 Super Bowls.
But that's what I was saying about, the fabric of how he's changed his organization. Kraft buys the team in the mid to late 90s. And at that time, everybody was embarrassed by the Patriots. Yeah, they had Drew Bledsoe, but prior to that, they were going to move to St. Louis.
They fired Pete Carroll.
They were going to be the St. Louis Stallions, and just in Boston and New England would not have a team. And so all of a sudden, not only do you save the team at Robert Kraft, you hire Bill Belichick, Tom Brady ascends in 2001. And not only have you saved the franchise from being moved, but now you're a blue blood. You have turned yourself over these last 20 years into one of the hallmarks of the NFL, one of the most expensive organizations in the NFL, the most valuable in, all of sports, really. And so that to me is insane. And it's flipped Boston and New England into a football town. It's no longer a baseball Bruins.
The Patriots are above the Celtics. They're above the Bruins. They're above the Red Sox.
It is a Patriots town, and that is because of Tom Brady.
Yeah. Now, Billy, by the way, who's going to get himself fired for commenting like this on the NFL. And see one thing you're commenting on the Pick Six podcast account. Now you're on the NFL and CBS account. You're like the whole cast of the Departed. Which, by the way, Billy, let's capitalize the and D, please. If you're going to capitalize, diehard Panthers fan. The whole cast of The Departed is above Tom Brady and Boston lore. Disgusting. That is. Well, it's not accurate. Martin Scorsese is above. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Martin Scorsese. I mean, that's how big Tom Brady is.
Yeah,
Tom Brady's it's like Tom Brady is probably one of. Heck, I don't know. 5, and I might be stretching it at 5 NFL players. All time that you could mention to a random person.
He has mass appeal.
Manning probably gets there.
He is now mainstream. It's not just him from Joe Burrow. I think still is NFL.
If I went to my mom and said, "What do you think about Joe Burrow?" She'd be like, "Is he a guy who?"
Exactly.
Like, no. If I was like, "Mom, Tom Brady did this," she'd be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Exactly. So he is now in the mainstream as a celebrity.
Oh boy, I wouldn't post his comments up there, Billy, if I were you. I didn't click that one for the record. That guy's a weirdo. So I mean, I feel a little jaded from last year where we did. Sure. It's like we did this whole and credit to Jason La Canfora. He nailed it from the jump street. Tom Brady's retiring. We did the whole Tom Brady's out. It's over. Here's his accomplishments. I'm not doing it again.
Well, I'll tell you this. Tom Brady himself had said, when I suck, I'll go. This is it. I'm not going to be this guy that hangs around. And he did, at least for one season. He hung around.
This is actually true. Tom Brady's only regret is not going to NC State. Look, I'm actually kind of sad though, for real. I want to see Tom Brady in the silver and black, or in San Francisco. I think that'd be kind of fun this year, but it would. And I do think that I actually think what's kind of interesting is now Tom Brady is sort of taking a Belichickian approach here, where it's like, okay, I'm leaving 1 year early rather than 1 year late.
Right.
And he's almost a year late, but he's not quite a year late. And that's why when people were like, well, he's going back to New England, it's like, no, he's not. Belichick will walk away.
It was never going to happen.
Correct. It was the stupidest idea ever floated. And anyone who entertained that is a fool.
If you want to talk to me about one-day contract, then sure. That's a whole different story. That's possible, but still, I don't even know if that's likely.
Well, that was a saucy little Boston. No, I agree with you. Why would that's Philip Rivers did it, so I can't get too mad about it. But I hate the one. I know. I was like complaining about one-day contracts. It was like
everybody wants it up. Like that is a thing. Like people are like, is he gonna do the one-day contract? It's maybe.
I think Rivers did that with the Chargers, and it made me mad.
He might. I mean, listen.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. We don't need a one-day contract. So he retires a Patriot.
Statue.
Patriot. He won 6 Super Bowls with him.
Right. He's gonna have a huge statue somewhere in Foxborough, I'm sure. And
Why don't they have a statue already? It should be already done. Him and Bob Kraft kissing on the lips right in front of the stadium.
I'll ask
What?
I'll ask you this because I think that this is the most fascinating piece of this whole thing with Tom Brady retiring. We didn't touch on it when we first started, but what do the Buccaneers do from here? Are they a team that feels like they are a plug and play quarterback, or do they rip it down to the studs?
I feel like the Buccaneers. So, okay, that's a great question. I feel like the Panthers now have the best coach in the division.
Yep.
We talked about this when Frank Reich got hired.
Yep.
Assuming like they had the best coach anyway, but if Tom Brady comes back, maybe like the Panthers are now the favorite to win the division. Actually, can we bet that?
I don't know if those are out.
I don't know.
They sometimes delay those.
Yeah, they're not out yet. But I bet the Bucs win the division when Tom Brady came back. So I guess 30, 40
but I think
days
it's after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So they're the best. The Panthers are the favorite to win the NFC South. I don't know that the Bucs, man, like who, if you're Aaron Rodgers, would you want to go to Tampa Bay?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you is that, do you just try to do something along those lines and try to acquire Aaron Rodgers or try to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr? Does this become a landing spot for one of these veterans that could become available for Tampa Bay to just plug and play with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and just roll out again? Or do they look at themselves honestly and say, we're probably, this era, this window, we maybe have to kind of revamp a little bit and get some assets for trading away some of these pieces?
I feel like Tom Brady's, we talk about the Jets, and there's like, well, the Jets have accelerated their timeline beyond Zach Wilson. It feels like Tom Brady has decelerated his timeline with the Bucs because you have Chris Godwin, you signed to an extension. And look, and Jason Light does a great job as a GM. He lured Tom Brady there. He can go find somebody else. Derek Carr could be a possibility. All right, let's say, I'm trying to think of the Panthers yet. Because the Falcons, I mean, let's say Lamar Jackson doesn't go. If Lamar Jackson goes to Atlanta, all bets are off.
Sure.
But if the Falcons and the Panthers and the Saints basically stand pat, it should be like no massive quarterback upgrade. And the Bucs go get Derek Carr. Who's the favorite to win the division?
I would probably put the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Because you're talking.
That's sort of the answer to your question, I think, is like.
Yeah.
Because if they got Rodgers, they're clearly the favorite.
But I think Derek Carr is probably the most likely, I think the best way we could say that, because the Packers are not going to trade Aaron Rodgers to the NFC. I think
Correct.
We've all seen so many reports that it's going to be an AFC team. That's why the Jets are so oftenly talked about. Jimmy Garoppolo is interesting, but if you're a team that
I'm Jimmy G, I'm like, listen, man, I already did this once.
Yeah.
I'm following Tom Brady again.
Right. And it would be somewhat poetic that he's actually the successor to Tom Brady at some point. But if you're looking at that dude, you're like, all right, there's so much injury history where I think I would much rather try my hand at Derek Carr to be my quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo at that point.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe Kyle Trask is good. Like, I mean, we don't know. He's a second round pick in 2021. I mean,
yeah,
they could roll him out there. It's hard to say, but man, this roster really is. I mean, Cade Otton and Rashad. No, I mean, I don't think they have a bunch. Well, they have. I mean, I think the roster's kind of put together.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they dealt with injuries. Like, you know, Ryan Jensen went down, and that was obviously massive. But they still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, a ton of those
extension.
Right, and a ton of those pieces on defense. I mean, they were still a decent football team. You know, it just felt like everything was just a little bit moved to the right a little bit. It wasn't perfectly put in place.
It was like Todd Bowles was running things and not Bruce Arians.
Well, that's probably part of the equation, and that's another part of it too. I don't believe they've hired an offensive coordinator yet. So
they have not.
So that's a whole other thing. Not only are you losing your offensive coordinator in title in Byron Leftwich that you fired, you're also losing probably who is your actual offensive coordinator in Tom Brady. And so that is a seismic shift offensively, of course.
Todd Monken interviewed yesterday, which is weird because Todd Monken was the old Buccaneers OC under Dirk Cutter, I believe. and then Dirk Cutter got fired. So Todd Monken went to Georgia, has dominated Georgia, and now is like interviewing to like coach again in Tampa Bay. Like, what are we doing here? Somebody, I mean, my God, somebody give Tom Monken a head coaching job. All right, anyway, enough is enough of this Tom Brady. We didn't really do Tom Brady justice, but when he
Well,
returns,
I'll add this one last thing because this will put a bookend to it. In 2028, he's eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think he's going to get in. There's a chance
do
where that.
Do you think, Sully, that Tom Brady gets in before Phillip Rivers?
When does Phillip Rivers?
Sully, come on.
He's going to get in. No, so no, Phillip Rivers will get into the Hall of Fame.
Oh no, I meant like if they were both up at the same time.
Oh, well, that's neither here nor there. What I was saying was, if all of a sudden Rob Gronkowski, who I would assume now officially retires, and Aaron Rodgers decides to walk away, you're looking at maybe the greatest Hall of Fame class. Not
okay. All right. Let me. Actually,
the greatest Hall of Fame class of all time: J.J. Watt, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and possibly Aaron Rodgers.
But Gronk didn't play this year.
Right, but he has not filed his paperwork to officially retire. He's always said, like, oh, I could still come back, blah, blah, blah.
Interesting. I would think that Tom Brady and Gronk would love to go to the Hall of Fame together.
Exactly, right?
Now I had this take last year, and Ryan Wilson got all pissy about it. I don't think that they would put Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in together.
See, I don't know I don't think we're doing the whole like Wayne Gretzky, we're going to retire his number throughout the league type of treatment. I don't think we're doing
I'm
that.
saying like, I mean, do you think Tom Brady do you think Aaron Rodgers wants to go into the Hall of Fame with Tom Brady?
Well, that would be a Rodgers decision then, right? To be like, oh, I'm going to not retire this year or whatever. Like,
yeah, I think maybe Tom Brady might have jumped Aaron Rodgers here to avoid. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's these Hall of Fame classes. They delayed Kurt Warner for Brett Favre,
which I think is stupid. Like, if they're eligible to get in, put them in. Like, it's
right.
that's ridiculous. But that's it.
Billy's fired. He said
that's a voter issue, I would say, right?
Donovan McNabb is a trash quarterback, Billy. You didn't know that. He's in here dragging Phillip Rivers to the NFL and CBS account. I'm going to report him to HR. No, I mean, like, I'm just telling. Okay, this is a different Hall of Fame argument, but like, I don't think they would put Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in the same class because the Tom Brady class is such that it's like it's Tom Brady's retirement.
Well, what I would wonder is, and again, this is a long time from now, and he's probably should already be in there. But I do wonder if Robert Kraft gets in there as well at the same time. Do they really kind of do a Patriot wave?
Oh God,
which I would not rule out. I wouldn't rule it out. That would
I wouldn't rule out either.
Be a fascinating
Brady, Gronk, and Kraft and.
Well, I mean, Bill's going away. I mean, I don't know if he's going away anytime soon. So
I was gonna say Aaron Hernandez, but I guess not. Okay, that's probably too soon. Sorry, Billy's got me all worked up in the comments. Can I block the NFL and CBS account in the comments?
Yeah, sure.
Why not? Let's see if we can block him. Block for 5 minutes. Put user in timeout. There you go, Billy. You've been put in timeout. Oh, that was Sim. Sorry, buddy. Wrong person. Anyway, somebody got put in timeout. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Tom Brady retired again. I'm sure he'll be back in a couple of minutes. 40 days. For Sully, get your coffee. I'm Brinson. Talk to you guys later. Bye.